Hello, everyone. I'm Sharif Abdullah, and I want to talk to you about some fundamental ideas. Uh, I, I want to encourage you, before I even start talking, to think differently. What we generally do is when we come across something new, we have the bag we've been carrying around for all of our lives. And if it sounds familiar to us, we stuff it in that bag and we kind of keep going and say, oh, great, good idea. And they keep going and use it just to reinforce all of your old ideas. What I'd like to do is encourage you to think differently and to think about how the world can work and what you can do to help the world work that way. I want to start with a quotation from Albert Einstein. And he said, whether you observe a thing or not depends on the theory which you use. It is the theory which decides what can be observed. I want to read that again. Whether you can observe a thing or not depends on the theory which you use. It is the theory which decides what can be observed. What I want to do with us today is change the theory, change how we see the world, allow ourselves to see more of that world. I want to share another Einstein quote with you, and this one is more familiar. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Now, we all think that's true. I've seen that poster on people's offices all around this country and around the world. But we still apply right now that same old thinking. So, what this is about is encouraging you to think differently, to elevate yourself above the problems, elevate yourself to the level of vision. So, let's begin. I want to share with you a photo that I came across recently. This photo is very interesting. It is a photo of the nine men who, in 1910, believed that they ran the world. Okay, these are nine kings of Europe, and not only did they believe it, but hundreds of millions of other human beings also believed it or were forced to believe it. And human beings died by the tens of millions because these folks believed that they ran the world and that they ran all the other human beings. And at some point in time, we need to wake up that number one, they didn't run the world. Number two, people followed them because that's the only thought they had that they could follow them. And number three, that we can wake up to a whole other way that we can live our lives, a whole other way that we can uh, be focused in how we see the world. What I call that focus, this is my take on that focus. If you've got a different focus, if you think something else is different is working for you, go ahead and do that. If you think that the society that we've got right now is working just fine and that the world is exactly where it needs to be and there's no such thing as climate change, save yourself the next 5 minutes and just turn this video off and go and watch a cartoon or something. But if you want to stick around because you think things can work better, then let's talk about what that looks like. What that looks like to me is a book that I wrote about a year or so ago, and it's called Birthing the Nation of Gaia. So, what do I mean by the nation of Gaia? I believe that this is um, a, a possibility, and that possibility is what we need to be focusing on as human beings at the beginning of the 21st century. What should we be doing? Where should we be going? How should we be living our lives? I think that there are 5 aspects of the nation of Gaia I would like to share with you. Number one, the nation of Gaia is a nation that is beyond exclusivity. What do I mean by that? Almost every nation you know of defines itself by who it keeps out of its borders. And they put armed troops around their borders to make sure these people don't get out. And sometimes they can't get in. And so our challenge is, can we get beyond exclusivity? Can we create a nation based on the concept of inclusivity, that we are one? Can we create a global nation of all beings? Just by me asking that question, the answer becomes yes. Now the question is, how do we do it? The next part of the nation of Gaia is getting beyond geography. That we need to start treating ourselves not as Americans and French and Chinese and South Africans and all the other ways that we can split each other up. We need to create a nation that is based on one factor, and that's our humanity. Now, how do we actually do that? I think we should do it. How we do it is up to how we want to implement it. Let's see where we go. The third factor of the nation of Gaia is a nation that's beyond violence, a nation that consists of peace and security. Now, one of the things, the very definition of a nation in the old thinking is we control all the violence in our territory. As that's basically how the UN defines who gets to be a nation and who doesn't. So what we need to do is change that we're the ones that build and create peace. And right alongside peace, we build and create security. The next aspect of the nation of Gaia is getting beyond religiosity and getting beyond dogma, becoming a nation of spirit. What does that mean? Does that mean that we force everybody to go to church? I don't think so. Does that mean that we require people to believe a certain way or say a certain thing? That's been tried before. It's been tried a lot before. It's led to untold deaths, untold suffering. And I think that what we've recognized over the last several thousand years is that that's really a bad idea. What we have to do is recognize that the spirit that lies inside of my heart and the spirit that lies inside of the hearts of all living beings, that we get to do things from that heart without anybody else telling us what to do and how to do it. And the final factor that we are looking at in terms of the nation of Gaia is getting beyond money. that we can become a global nation of abundance. That doesn't mean that everybody has everything equally, but it does mean that everyone has enough, and it means that everyone is able to fulfill the yearning that lies in their heart for whatever comes next in their lives. Our challenge is, how do we do this in a context, in a way that can open us up to a whole new way of living, a whole new way of being? Can we even imagine living on a planet where there's no violence? Can we even imagine living on a planet where uh, everyone has enough to eat, enough place to sleep, enough to satisfy the yearning for fulfillment that lies in their hearts? Can we even allow ourselves to conceive of that? I think that we can. And I think that we should. I think that this is the way to do that. Now, you got a better way? Let me know. I'll pack up my little tent here and join yours. But from what I've seen around the world, and I've been around the world enough times to have seen a lot, people are waiting for something. They're waiting for something that calls to their vision. They're waiting for something that calls to their spirit. And they're waiting for something that they think can actually work, that can get us to a world that works for all living beings. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Let's get to it. Thank you.